This process, what we're talking about here, is called awakening, because when you are asleep, then it means that your concept of reality either doesn't really exist, or it is very vague or biased, and when you wake up, it is like in the movie The Matrix, when you see the code beyond your vision. So what it means that these successive layers of awakening that happen to people, you get the understanding of the world that is closer and closer to what it actually is. You start to see patterns in how people do things. You observe the natural laws from the nature, and it's like spiritual understanding and everything. I would say that there are games that you play, and there are games that are played on you. And like what I call the system is, it is a very big like game that is forced on you, and it is so pervasive that like most people like don't really get to understand like how pervasive it is, because your physical reality, this 3D world, is already a game. It's already something that the scientists agree that when you go to smaller and smaller particles of matter, and they are already pretty small, but when you go even smaller, there is no particles anymore. So like you and me don't actually exist according to science. All there is energy and vibration. But I'm not talking about this because at least the 3D world is following like certain laws that are rather constant. You cannot change it very easily. Like somebody might occasionally be able to walk on the water, but most people don't. And but at the same time, these games that the system is playing on us, they are mostly happening on informational level. So like the two things that at present are how to say, controlling people the most, even though they are not physical, are death. I didn't say death, obviously that is also controlling people, but that is on the 3D matrix. We are talking about that at the other time, but in systemic level is death and taxes. Because death is something that is so prevalent in this society that almost all people have it, and every single government has it, and like most companies have it. And at the same time, a child is asking, why is this needed? Like, whom do we owe? And nobody can tell the answer, because there is nobody. Like the debt it originates from the central bank, because like wise people long ago, or not so long, it's 106 years ago, and they are very wise, but they were also like not so much on the light side. But they decided that it makes sense for the whole nation, and later on the whole world, to have a monetary system where they possess the right to create all the money into existence, and everybody else must pay it back to them. But to make it more challenging, they are charging interest on the credits that they created out of nothing, and that interest is never created. So they give the credits to people. They do nothing because they just print money. I mean, they press the button and the credits become your possession, and you must pay the debt back, and the interest they never created, but you must pay it back anyway. So people are pitted against each other in this great carousel, and the only sure result, like some people actually succeed, other people don't. They fail. They even commit suicide as a result of their failure. Their families, they cannot live normally when the guy fails. But the only sure result is that the wealth of the world is accumulating to those people who had the guts and the guns to tell everybody that, hey, it makes sense to have that kind of system where every single one is serving us, and we don't need anything else except to create the monetary base of the nation. Like that is a game whose rules I personally don't like. But I'm not the first one. The first technological solution to tackle this game was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency means that you can create payment media without having a trusted issuer, because the concept of trust in money is quite interesting, because money can basically be based on value, like gold. Gold is valuable. You don't need to trust gold. It is there anyway. You trust, you don't, it is there. You can check that it is gold. And it can be based on debt, like the central bank money is doing. But the third thing is that it can be based on trust, meaning that the money is just like credits information. The only difference between trust money and debt money is that with trust money there is like nobody is indebted. If I have a trust money system, I create 100 for me, then I create 100 for you. Nobody owes us. I mean, we owe the amount to nobody, but it is up to our trust whether the one who is running the scheme is doing it honestly. So this kind of monies existed, for instance, in Finland earlier, before changing the money system or becoming part of the BIS and Eurozone in 1980s and 90s. So, but Bitcoin is similar to gold in the sense that there is nobody that you need to trust when you accept Bitcoin. It just is. You can verify that it is Bitcoin. And this was something seriously cool, because it hadn't happened before. Earlier, when you give a piece of paper to somebody and you say that this is value, you need to check whether the issuer has the value, because the piece of paper doesn't have value. With euros or dollars, we need to trust on the central bank. There is many levels of trust. One level is that the euro that is given to you is so-called genuine, that it is not fake. It is getting rather deep to the monetary theory, but actually, like according to European Central Bank and Eurozone foundation articles, what is a euro? And the answer is that euro, the fundamental unit of euro is the piece of paper that is printed by European Central Bank according to the specifications that they set, and it has the word euro in it. So, for instance, coins are not euro, and bank deposits likewise, they are not euro. So when I found out this thing, that only the pieces of paper that the European Central Bank is issuing, and that also conform to like what they usually look like, then I was elated. I was, I had found the secret. I took like big banknotes and I went to places where I wanted to pay, and then I found out that they did not even know that my banknotes are euros, and the card is not. I tried to tell the shop tellers that, hey, I'm paying with the lawful money of the European Union, and they told me that, go away, it's too big, we cannot change it. But the other thing that you must trust is more relevant to most people, and that is like, how is the Eurozone, the European Central Bank, managing the national economy and our money and its purchasing power and value? Because if we don't trust that one, that they are constantly diluting the value and mismanaging the national economy, then we cannot easily get rid of like the euro altogether. But at least what we can do is that we can seek to keep our wealth in other instruments. So instead of when you saved for your old days, you have 100,000 in the bank. So if you're smart, you think about it. Does it hold its value when you keep it in the bank as like bank balance? And most people realize that no, it doesn't. So that's why they seek alternatives. And the reason why they do is that they didn't trust. They want something that is more trustable to hold its value. My friend had a business in Cyprus in 2013, and it was a IT company and about 50 employees. And because it was already a rather big company, they had approximately $1 million in the bank, just like rolling balance to pay the salaries. And then they had this Cyprus bank, haircut that anyway, that almost all the money was stolen from people's accounts, and that didn't exclude business accounts either. So the whole company went bankrupt for the reason that the money was stolen from their bank account, and it wasn't possible to pay the people. Well, the owners of these big companies, they can usually get like replacement money somewhere, but the mere shock to this guy that it is just like that possible to take their bank account, close the whole fucking country, and run the business down, that was enough for him to exit the place. A similar thing, by exit I didn't mean he committed suicide, but my next sentence was about that in Finland many did in 1990s when a similar game was imposed upon them. Because when we talk about gamification of reality, the basic understanding where you start with is that everything that you're doing is already a game. Even the 3D matrix physical reality is a game. But at least that game is something that you need to, follow the rules closely. When you walk down the cliff, then you hurt. But other games are something where Morpheus says that the rules can be bent or broken more easily.